Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear the Trump rally in the Bronx, New York, one of the most awesome, wonderful places in the entire planet. He's very popular everywhere. I think he's something like 10 points down in New York, which is unheard of for a Republican. He is up in every swing state. Obviously, New York isn't a swing state, but he's up in every swing state. Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia. He's even doing well in Minnesota. Hit subscribe right now to this channel, to my super chat. Thank you. To the members of this channel, thank you so very, very much. Let's get started. Let's listen to a little of, well, before we get to the Bronx speech and rally, and Paul Bartlett, thank you again. My goodness, thank you, Paul. I want to just, to my super chat, thank you so much, Paul. Thank you. I want to get to a really important endorsement. You might say it's not that big of a deal, but listen to this really quickly. Everything is working in favor of Trump. They cannot stop him. All of these indictments are completely absurd. And you will see right now, really quickly, his poll numbers go up, even if he was convicted in New York, which, you know what, there's a good chance he's not going to be, but it's such a desperate, sad, futile attempt at going after the direct political rivals. It's really unbelievable. You have to be a complete imbecile to think any of this is about the rule of law. He was a president with the power to declassify. He's protected under the Constitution to perform a speech. Okay, so that is not beyond the duties of a president, performing a speech where he says go peacefully. He's allowed to speak to political allies in any state of the union, including Georgia. And the hush money trial is a complete circus and political, unmitigated political disaster for Democrats. Michael Cohen, the star witness, has lied endless times, committed perjury a number of times. But let's listen to Nikki Haley. Then we'll get to Trump's Bronx, New York speech. I love the Bronx, New York. And let's get started. Hit subscribe. Paul Bartlett in Australia, thank you so very much. To my super chat around the world and in the U.S., thank you. Let's get started. Let's listen to Nikki Haley's endorsement. Then we'll get to Trump in the Bronx, New York.
Heard you deliver that speech, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So on these issues, these national security critical issues that you've described today, who do you think would do a better job in the White House, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
As a voter, I put my priorities on a president who's going to have the backs of our allies and hold our enemies to account, who would secure the border, no more excuses, a president who would support capitalism and freedom.
As you may know,
a president who understands we need less debt, not more debt. Trump has not been perfect on these policies. I've made that clear many, many times. But Biden has been a catastrophe. So I will be voting for Trump. Having said that, I stand by what I said in my suspension.
So Nikki Haley's voting for Trump. The Never Trump holdouts, the Never Trump, attempt at trying to derail Donald Trump, that ended yesterday officially. So Nikki Haley is backing Trump. Trump is now down, I think, in one poll, like only 10 points in New York. He's doing well across the country. He's indicted 91 plus times, hundreds of years in prison. It is such an absurd reality, political reality we live in today, where you have a laptop full of bribery and graft schemes. But Democrats, of course, if Trump indicted Hunter and Joe and people around them for what seems to be obvious bribery and graft, that's why 50 intel officials came to bat for the Bidens and Democrats. Of course, it wasn't a Kremlin plot. Everything bad about the Democratic Party, any corruption, any criminality, has to be a plot by another country to inform you of how bad they are, of how corrupt they are, of how criminal they are. It's a plot by another country. But again, you'd have to be a complete imbecile to believe this nonsense. But Americans know an actual criminal, okay? Trump is not a criminal. Trump, we had record low poverty with Trump, record highs in household median income. We had the Doha Agreement that brought Americans home from never-ending military conflict. Nikki Haley talks about how, no excuses. It's her old school Republican Party, her Paul Ryan and never Trump Republican Party that made every excuse in the book, sided with Democrats. Trump wanted to build a wall. Republicans and Democrats, especially Democrats, were against that. Had we done that, there wouldn't be the human rights atrocities taking place. Had we listened to Trump and he offered Dreamer citizenship and still Democrats said no. So, I mean, it's really unbelievable. That's why he's so popular in the Bronx and throughout the country. But let's listen to a little bit of Trump's rally in New York. Hit subscribe if you're new.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you very much. This is some turnout. And I want to thank New York's finest. They just brought a lot of additions. So we have people, thousands of people outside that can't even get in, but they'll get in eventually. We appreciate it. New York's finest. Hello, New York City, and hello to all of the incredible, tough, strong, hardworking American patriots right here in the Bronx. Who would think? I'm thrilled to be back in the city I grew up in, the city I spent my life in, the city I helped build, and the city that we all love, New York City. And I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. We're going to reduce taxes. We're going to bring businesses and big taxpayers back to New York. Gotta bring them back. And we're going to make New York bigger, better, and more beautiful than ever before. And that includes right here in the Bronx. And it's going to be done and funded starting on January 20th, directly from our great and beautiful White House. Is that okay? For my whole life, I always thought that this city is a monumental testament to the power of the American spirit and the American dream. When New York started as a small, rugged Dutch trading post near the tip of Manhattan in 1624, what you see around you is nothing more than wilderness and marsh. But by the muscle and backbone and genius of the people of New York, we built the city into the towering forest of iron, aluminum, concrete, and steel. We made this city and state into the capital of global commerce. We turned our hometown into the bustling center of a confident, glamorous American culture, and we inspired the entire world. We inspired the world. No matter where you went on this planet, everyone knew that when you said, "I'm a New Yorker," it meant you had smarts, you had grit, you had energy, and above all else, you had heart. Big, big, beautiful heart. Everybody wanted to be here. New York was where you came to make it big. You want to make it big, you had to be in New York. But sadly, this is now a city in decline. My life, I've seen New York through good times and bad, through boom times and crime waves, through market crashes and terrorist attacks. But I've never seen it quite like this. We have filthy encampments of drugged out homeless people living in our places that we've spent so much time with children where they used to play. lunatics killing innocent bystanders by pushing them on.
Drinking warm water before.
You know, we wanted to keep it small. Who knew? This is like a love fest. Love fest. It's a love fest. In just 3 months, for far less than the $2 million projected, the biggest expense was actually the demolition. That is the demolishing of everything that was built so incorrectly, so badly over a house was demolition. African-American woman who came to my defense. We explained it, and the city explained it. They said, we want to terminate it. They had no reason. And we said what we just said. And she looked at them, and she said, in effect, how dare you? This man came in. He put up his own money. He did an incredible job. You were building it for 29 years. How dare you ask for this to be terminated? How unfair is that? Deborah James, a great Supreme Court justice. That's all I can tell you. And we won the case. But it's not easy doing business in New York, I'll tell you. Not easy. So I just appreciated that. I had to tell that story. And as you know, then I renovated Grand Central Terminal. I built the Grand Hyatt Hotel on 42nd Street and Park Avenue. And as part of that, I renovated the beautiful Grand Central Terminal, did a really good job on that. And then I was very much responsible for the construction of the Jacob Javits Convention Center, where Hillary Clinton was going to have her big evening. That was not good. Remember? We had the glass ceiling. You know, we built glass ceiling. She said, New York, affordable again. It's gotten totally out of control. And I tell you, I see a lot of flags from it, right out of Israel, right? That's right out of Israel. But remember, I said it a month ago, and it's a terrible thing to say, but I believe it. Many of the hostages that you're waiting for, and everybody's waiting for, those hostages, many of them are dead. Many of them are dead. And it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing, but many of those hostages are dead. And that's why when you see these negotiations where Hamas is like not getting back, they're saying, man, we could make a good deal, but these people are no longer alive. When I saw the way they were treated, when I saw the way they were thrown into the cars and how horribly they were treated, there's no way that those hostages, and some will be alive, but many of those hostages are dead. It's a very serious, horrible thing. It would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. It would have never happened if I were your president. They would have never done it. But he was happy when he worked, and he was successful, and he knew what he was doing. He'd build a house on one side of the street. Somebody else would build a house on the other side of the street. And he'd build his house faster, better, cheaper, and he'd sell it for less money. The other guy would build the house for more money, take him longer, couldn't sell it. My father would go buy the house for less money than it cost him to build the first one, and he'd sell it. And you know, in the old days, a long time ago, his brother was a professor at MIT. My father worked, he was a little younger than my father. My father put him to school. He went to MIT, a very brilliant guy, Professor John Trump, the longest serving professor in the history of MIT, 41 years, I believe. Dr. John Trump. My father used to tell me I used to go crazy. Your uncle was always getting degrees. I had to keep building for your uncle to get him through college. He was always up there getting degrees. But he was at MIT for 41 years, a brilliant guy. He used to talk to me about nuclear because he was a nuclear genius, along with a genius at about everything else. And he used to say that someday there'll be a time when a small package carried by hand can blow up an entire city. He ended up going bankrupt. He was bankrupt. And I was young when I met him, and I was at the party of a very big person, big public company person. And Bill Levitt was there, and I was in the real estate business, so I knew who he was, and you probably indirectly know who. And everybody was shunning him a little bit. Nobody cared about him anymore, but I did. And I went over to him, and I say, hi, Mr. Levitt, I'm Donald Trump. I know it. I was doing great. I was sort of like a hot guy. I was hot as a pistol. I think I was hotter than I am now when I became president, okay? I don't know. I said to somebody, was I hotter before or hotter now? I don't know. Who the hell knows? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares, right?
See, Democrats hear this, and morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats, progressives, people to the left of center, they hear this and they don't understand Trump's personality. Like the wonderful ladies at The View and Robert De Niro and Hollywood, and they don't get that Trump, although he's brash, is a far better human being than the average Hollywood actor or producer or director or financier or the average wonderful Democrat who's been in politics for 30 years, very likely enriching themselves with stock picks like wonderful Nancy Pelosi, who never had a bad stock pick, which is unbelievable. How does that work out? Or Hunter and Joe with a laptop that 50 Intel officials came out of nowhere to protect. So you have obvious bribery and graft schemes by lifelong politicians. The wonderful foundation linked to a Democratic dynasty. Okay. Private servers with top secret intel on them. You have President Obama, who intervened in Libya and ended up helping destroy that country, turning it into a failed state for a generation. And he even says that was his biggest mistake. Trump's biggest mistake as president wasn't Obama's or Bush's. Their mistakes have lasted over a generation. Their mistakes have destroyed countries. Trump didn't destroy a country. His greatest sin is not intervening in Libya or sending Americans to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts like Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. His greatest sin is being brash. People don't like his personality, so they're willing to ignore what Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and what President Obama did in terms of foreign policy. That's how distorted, that's how warped American politics is. And it's like, his personality is hilarious. The guy is funny. He's confident. Good for him. He has a reason to be confident. He's a billionaire who became president. You'd be confident too. I don't think you need like a meek and this shy, super humble person. Whenever you see like President Obama or Bush or Biden, if you can understand what he says, when they speak, you have Democrats saying, "Oh, these are good people. These are good human beings." Look at their track record and look at Trump's. We didn't have a war with Trump. We did with President Obama and getting us into new military conflicts, and especially with Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld. And look at Biden. Look at the world under Biden. It's a complete unmitigated disaster. But because Democrats crave political power and influence, they're fine with it. So this is the greatest sin. Trump's greatest sin is his confidence and the fact that that liberals don't like his personality. That's it. That's the only thing they have against him. They can't say his economy was bad. His economy was great. I'll even give Bill Clinton the fact that Bill Clinton, oh, finally, you said something nice about me. I'll say Bill Clinton's economy was good. Okay. Give credit where credit's due. He made a lot of mistakes after his presidency. Okay, we'll leave that. That's another story. But Trump, his economy was fantastic, much better. We're on the brink of a stock market crash because of Biden. But anyway, let's continue. I mean, I just love the fact that he has this amazing brash personality. It helped him in terms of foreign policy with the Doha Agreement that brought Americans home that Biden completely botched. It was a May 1st, 2021 withdrawal. Then we had first president to step foot in North Korea to begin détente between North and South Korea. Abraham Accords that you see militants and groups that start with the word T have tried to destroy. Trump tried, and what he did is he tried to implement peace deals, and he didn't get us into a foreign entanglement. Obama, Biden, and Bush, especially Bush, did. And then the average liberal says, oh, they're good people. Trump is a bad human being. Trump is a better human being than the Hollywood celebrities, and especially the directors and producers of these Hollywood celebrities. Trump is a far better human being than all the government officials and Hollywood people. Look at Trump's enemies and adversaries, and that alone makes you can see the difference in terms of human beings. Trump presided over peace, general peace, compared to what we have now, and a fantastic economy. So you judge people by their actions. Plus, he's hilarious.
But he knew who I was, and I went up, I said, so, are you okay? And he said, I'm not really okay. I made a mistake that I'll never forget. And he was, by this time, a pretty old guy. And he was sitting in the corner of this magnificent Fifth Avenue apartment where there were 25 very successful people. But I wanted to talk to him. I wanted to find out what happened because he lost everything. Everybody knew it. It was very public. And I said, what happened exactly? What happened? He said, son, I lost my momentum. I had something going that couldn't be stopped, and I should have just stayed. I lost my momentum, and I've never forgotten. If you lose your momentum, you got to figure it out. But Bill Levitt lost his momentum, and he died penniless, and he was the biggest real estate person on the planet. And I've never forgotten that story, and it was a sad story. He was a good man, too. I thought he was a good man, but did an unbelievable job. Today, you have Levittowns all over the country, and pretty amazing. But you have to always keep moving forward, and when it's your time, you have to know it's your time. And I said to myself, in terms of politics, I said, you know what? We did so well in number one. We did even better in number two. I said, we got to do it again because we have to do it. Maybe I'm wrong.
By the way, compare Donald Trump, a man who has a beautiful, gorgeous family. His wife, his family, his kids love him. His kids are successful. They haven't succumbed to substance issues and, criminality like maybe other political families, which shall remain nameless. The fact that he was always beloved. He was part of Americana before he became an adversary of Democrats. He was in movies. He was in music videos. He was in songs. He was given awards, civil rights awards. And so compare the Hollywood celebrities and the intel officials and and others who despise Trump, the never Trump Republicans who presided over never-ending military conflicts, sending Americans throughout the world because of, again, failed intel. And compare, there's such an emphasis on Trump's, humanity. He's a much better human being than the people who just want to judge. And you know who they are. They're just celebrities. They're talk shows and MSNBC, CNN, The View. All they do is stand in judgment atop their lofty perch. And what have they ever... To be a judge, you at least have to earn your way to that title, okay, in a courtroom. What have these people done to judge Trump? Trump didn't. Those that they advocate, the people they advocate for, Biden, Clinton, Bush, former President Obama, these people helped destroy countries. Trump did not. These people had such failed and miserably failed foreign policy. The neoconservatives, the never Trump Republicans, such miserably failed foreign policies. Their decision making led to untold suffering. And what did Trump do? Record low poverty, record highs in household median income. Everyone was doing better. And then more people lost their lives in Biden's first year than Trump's last year. But still they blame Trump for you know what, not Biden. And they say Trump lies. You never had a more honest president. That's why the media went after him. They distorted everything he said. They lied about everything he said. They accused him of being a Kremlin operative. That was a categorical hoax and lie and farce. And we know that with endless hours of testimony before Congress. They found nothing. Trump got not even 1 second of testimony, cross-examination, to see if any of his claims were true, which is what he needed. Trump's lawyers needed state and county officials to testify before Congress, and that was never going to happen. So anyway, they say that he lied. What did he lie about? Not much. Nothing of magnitude compared to Biden and Democrats, and Clinton and Democrats, and President Obama and Democrats, and Bush and Republicans. They say that Washington, about 50,000 lies, and then they stopped counting with the Democrat in office. Gee, that's very interesting how you just stop counting. Whenever you can decipher what Biden says, nothing is truthful. So they can't even name a lie of substance. But you know what? We know that Joe knows everything about Hunter's business deals, because we have people testifying in Congress that, oh yeah, that was the reason that these business deals took place. And so Trump doesn't need money. He never needed money. He's a billionaire. He never needed politics to enrich himself like Democrats and certain Republicans, or a number of Republicans. Anyway, let's continue.
And I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it to make America great again. You know, if I didn't think we easily won, I would never do this. Because you know what? In many ways, it's easier. You have a winner, you have a loser. It's okay. I won once. It was a big upset, I guess. I don't know why it was an upset. Because I'd have 50,000 people at a rally. She'd go and have 200 people. And then they say, why did I win Michigan? Why did I win Pennsylvania? Why did I win all these states that a Republican hadn't won in many years? Why? And by the way, we're up in Pennsylvania. We're up in Michigan. We're up in New Hampshire today. We're up in Florida at numbers that you wouldn't even believe.
He's heading for a landslide. And God bless the Bronx, New York. God bless every New Yorker, left or right. But God bless the people that showed up and supported this man, because you can get hundreds and hundreds and thousands of supporters for Trump anywhere on the planet. Not so with the most popular president of all time, our current president, Mashed Potato Brains. Gee, I wonder how that works.
But I also think it's very important to know what you want. You have to set your sights high. Set your sights so high, higher than you ever thought possible, and make your goals big and go after it. That's why I say we won't just make New York a little better. I say we want to make New York a lot better, better than it ever was before, right? And finally, you have to take pride in your accomplishments. Do not take for granted what you've achieved. Forget it. It's over. It's good for your confidence, but it's over. Go forward. Think to the future, not to the past, but learn from the past. You know, wherever I go, I know that if I could build a skyscraper in Manhattan, I could do anything. It's very tough. Building a 68-story building on Fifth Avenue is hard. With all you have to deal with, I mean, you have unions, you have legal entanglements, property rights, zoning. You're dealing with the smartest and toughest contractors in the world. These are killers. Many of you are here today. Thank you very much. But by comparison, talking to world leaders, I believe, is easier. And I've done them both. Talking to a world leader, if you're smart, you know, you have the United States behind you. Now, the country's not the same, but it'll be better and stronger and bigger in a very short period of time.
Here's the difference between Trump and Biden or any Democrat. Trump will go into his second term, and he'll make it easier for oil and gas companies to operate. Inflation will go down. Job numbers will go up. The economy will grow. Things will be better immediately. Just without the absurd executive orders making it difficult for oil and gas companies to operate. So Democrats care so much about the planet. They say, oh, these are wonderful things that Biden did with executive orders saying you can't drill here, you can't drill there. Then they promptly stated that there was no inflation. Inflation was temporary, because they were saying inflation was temporary. Oil and gas associations were saying that, oh, by the way, you're going to make inflation worse by making energy increasing the cost of energy in the U.S. Then, as they protected the planet, they then begged other countries, Democrats, to give us oil and gas or fossil fuels. Then inflation went through the roof because Democratic governors shut down state economies in the most apoplectic, counterproductive reaction to you know what. And then Biden promptly did those executive orders, signed those executive orders. Then he was sued by oil and gas associations and states. Then inflation skyrocketed. Then he raised interest rates. The Fed raised interest rates, his administration, through the roof. His Treasury Secretary, the Fed chairman raised interest rates through the roof. Then inflation went down. But the stock market keeps going up. Inflation and interest rates are way too high. And we're on the brink of a terrible stock market crash. And this is all the fault of Democrats. And then they're going to say we should have more regulation. It's like they're the ones who shut down the economy, took a printing press with trillions in stimulus, wondered why inflation went up as they printed trillions in stimulus, while at the same time executive orders that made it difficult for oil and gas companies in the U.S. to operate. And then they say, well, gee, inflation went up and we reduced the inflation by raising interest rates through the roof. And so anyway, and then you have an unmitigated, unparalleled disaster in terms of foreign policy, where we're actually talking about nuclear annihilation all the time. So anyway, let's continue. We didn't have this with Trump. We had just his personality, which is a better personality than any Democratic politician. They're all like, they have the most phony and fake personalities. At least Trump is real.
You know, we have so many different things we could discuss having to do with the Republican Party. But the biggest thing, I think, and I really mean this, and it's happening more and more, and I see it all the time, because really you have to be the party of common sense as opposed to the Democrat Party. It's a party of failure, extremism, and gross incompetence, and that's what it is. And they're going to destroy our country. But our country has faced down much harder challenges before and come back stronger than ever. That's why I so firmly believe that we can quickly make America a great and glorious nation again. When I take office, we are going to restore public safety and the rule of law in New York City. That starts with stopping the pouring into our country of millions and millions of illegal immigrants, which are causing a new category of violence called migrant crime. Would anybody...
Then you have the morally superior, good Democrats. They're such good liberals. They care so much about people who come into the country. So much so that they ignore human rights violations, worse, more egregious, worse than anything that took place during Trump's tenure. Because during Trump's tenure, we actually had a functioning border. He actually wanted to build a wall. And yes, there was one draconian policy, and he ended that within a year and a half or so, a year. But nothing that took place during Trump's administration was as horrible, as tragic, as horrifying in terms of human rights and just the atrocities taking place. You can't even explain on this platform, okay? It's not even possible to explain on this platform. Okay, that's why you don't see Democrats going to the southern geographic region of our country, where they claim to care so much about people coming in. They don't care about what's going on. They care about image. Democrats and progressives and liberals primarily revolve around image, public relations. They want to feel good. They don't necessarily always want to do good. That's why the same people talking about Medicare that used to talk about Medicare for all or single payer or banning fracking, which is a terrible idea that even I once supported, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. Believe me, I'm just as embarrassed as people who were embarrassed that I was on that side. But Trump is a much better president than Biden. He was and he will be. And when Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders, okay, the grift really began, because the same people that talked about single payer, they're not talking about that anymore. The actual cult is not people who support Trump. You're going against the wishes of whatever you want to call, like, mainstream, what people think is mainstream. It's actually not. But when all of media is saying Trump is bad and you're still voting for him, that means you have a functioning, like, brain. That means you're able to think clearly and you're independent of thought. You're not just a lemming or like part of you're not just sheep, just voting for one political party no matter what. If Trump did a good job as president, then everyone should vote for him. If Biden did a good job as president, why wouldn't you vote for him? Wouldn't it behoove you to vote for Biden if he was actually a good president? It would behoove me. I would benefit, but he's not. The economy is on the brink of disaster because of his policies. Foreign policy is an unmitigated disaster, a complete catastrophe. So how on earth can you not vote for Trump if you're like if you have a functioning brain cell? How on earth could you not vote for him? My God. Aside from just blind allegiance and loyalty to the Democratic Party, or because you're afraid of losing friends and getting shunned by people. I mean, that happened to me. It happens to every person who votes for Trump. You have people who are completely apoplectic, who are actually part of a cult, and then they disown you, and it's like, well, you know what? I don't care. Vote for whomever you want to. Why would you care so much that I voted for Trump, and actually a great president?
Now, this is up to you. Has anybody heard the snake? Would anybody like to hear the snake? Because we can stay here all night. I don't care. Would you like to hear the snake? So it's a metaphor. It's an old song, and it was redone. It didn't have anything to do with snakes or people or illegal immigration, but this has to do with illegal immigration. And
it's me versus.
Good. You look beautiful. Please.
Thank you. Mr. President, I am a Puerto Rican, a black Puerto Rican. I used to be a state senator for 15 years. And I used to be a city council member. Today I'm here for various reasons. But I want to tell you first that as a Puerto Rican, as a Hispanic, I want to apologize to you for the conduct of Judge Juan Merchan. As a Hispanic, I want to apologize.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's being used. He has been used to destroy you. But we know better than that. We know better than that. As a minister, president of the New York Hispanic Clergy Organization, I want to tell AOC, this morning she intended to become a prophet. And she said, even God doesn't want Trump in the Bronx because it's going to rain. Madam Prophet AOC, you have become a false prophet. Look at what a beautiful day. That means that not only you guys want Trump in the Bronx. Because if we're going to measure that for the weather, then I would say humbly that even God wants you in the Bronx.
You're fantastic. Thank you, Robert. Thank you.
And I want to close by saying, Mr. President, I want to join you in having the Bronx great again. Please accept this Democrat, this black Puerto Rican with a kinky hair and a broken English. Please accept my endorsement for you as a president. Thank you very much.
Beautiful job. Thank you.
How beautiful is that? Really, how beautiful is that? And you don't have, this is the thing, when people speak on behalf of Democrats, there's no passion, energy, enthusiasm. There's nobody really speaks on behalf of like Biden or Clinton with genuine enthusiasm. President Obama, I think that there was, yes, enthusiasm and passion, okay, for a lot of people who, spoke while he was campaigning. That was a completely different time, completely different Democratic Party. But you can look since 2016, Democrats have they just want political power and influence. They don't care about, like, there's no passion, enthusiasm, energy, excitement. Trump brings all of that about. They have to create a Donald Trump that doesn't exist. MSNBC and CNN and Hollywood, their job is to create a Donald Trump that doesn't exist, that is the embodiment of evil. They distort his quotes. They lie about Trump all the time. He never said the 1930s and 1940s German wannabes were fine people. Never. He was referring to Republicans or conservatives that wanted to keep Civil War statues up. If you disagree with that, that's another story. He did not say that fine people were the 1930s and 1940s Germans. He never did. He never meant that, not for 1 second. That was not even an example of journalism. That was public relations. You can look at the C-SPAN. I mean, like whenever you hear anything about Trump, look at the actual quote in its totality. Go to C-SPAN. Go to Forbes Breaking News. Okay? The Hill. You can go and you can see his actual speech. Read the transcript. They lie all the time about Trump. He never said take a certain substance to Drano or whatever. He never said that. He never said that, ever, ever, ever. He never suggested. Oh, by the way, did you know that Trump doesn't embolden or dine with or coddle or any of the other stupid words that public relations executives and propagandists use to describe Trump? Trump doesn't embolden bad things. He doesn't embolden bad people. He never tried to tarnish democracy. He never tried to eat the Constitution. He never tried to upend a rule of law. None of these things took place. That's why a unanimous Supreme Court decision backed Trump. Even the liberal justices backed Trump. Okay? When now the Democrats created this really hilarious category called protecting democracy. Is he good for democracy? Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders in their own primary. That was a complete theatrical performance, where emails that were published, written by Clinton and her campaign and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the DNC officials all resigned. They cheated Bernie Sanders. They don't even have a functioning Democratic primary. That's why they I mean, it was 2 primaries in a row that Bernie Sanders got railroaded. Then they just went for the most conservative states first, this primary. The whole thing is like set up. They even said in court that they don't even have to have a functioning primary. They could just pick and choose their nominee. The whole thing doesn't even exist. And then they pontificate about democracy as they went after Trump. And if he did that to them, they'd call Trump. If he indicted Clinton for servers or Biden and Hunter for a laptop full of graft and bribery, they would say that Trump was a despot, authoritarian, totalitarian, tyrant. But when they indict Trump, it's about the rule of law. Meanwhile, every legal scholar is like, what? What is going on here? What is this even about? And then they say, and then look, they tried to ban him on every ballot and in the Colorado, the absurd, unconstitutional Colorado ban. And of course, it was overturned by the Supreme Court. So, anyway, let's continue. Even the liberal justices sided with Trump. But look at the passion and energy here in the Bronx. Look at the passion and energy. Do you think Biden's going to get like any... How many people do you think, even in New York, the most liberal, along with California and the most liberal blue state, how many people do you think Biden would get to hear him speak? I don't know. I'm asking like a legitimate question. How many people do you think? How many people? Would he fill a library? I don't know. I don't think so.
Thank you very much. How nice was that? I didn't expect that. Really? That was beautiful. It's dangerous to do that. You never know what's going to come out. Maybe he'll change his mind coming up, but he doesn't change his mind. That man is a winner. He's a winner and a great man. Thank you very much, Ruben. Also with us is New York native and current U.S. Congressman. He's hot as a pistol. Oh, boy, he has a future. And he's a great friend of mine, Byron Donalds. Come up, please, Byron. Give him hell.
Oh, wow. Mr. President, there's more of them here now than when I was up about an hour and a half ago. If there's one thing we know, is that this man was one of the best presidents this has ever had. And if there's another thing that we know, is that all of you are going to make him the 47th president of the United States.
Thank you, Byron. Great. What a good future. Here as well is rapper Chef G. Does everybody know Chef? Where is Chef G? Where is he? Come on up, fellas. Rapper Sleepy Hollow. Come on up here, fellas. How are you, man? Hey. Oh, I like that. I want to get that done.
President Trump, oh man. One thing I want to say. One thing I want to say. They always gonna whisper your accomplishments and shout your failures. Trump gonna shout the wins for all of us. Make America great again.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. That's where I like those teeth. I want to find out where you did. I got to get my teeth like that. I want that to happen to me. There's somebody with a fantastic future in the Republican Party and beyond, Gavin Wax. Thank you, young Republicans. Gavin, wherever you are. Thank you, Gavin. Adam Solis of New York, Young Republicans, who's been fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good job you're doing. Madeline Brame of Blexit. Thank you, Madeline. Thank you very much. Somebody that's a real star in politics and done an incredible job and so popular in Nassau County, the county executive, Nassau County, Bruce Blakeman. Come up, Bruce, for a second. Come up, Bruce. Where is Bruce? We got to get Bruce. Where is he? That's a long way to come up to hell with Bruce, right? Come on up, Bruce. Come on.
Do you think this could happen with Biden? I'm just like, if you've watched this long, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, let's say there's a liberal Democrat that stumbles upon my channel, maybe happens to remember that I used to be a big Bernie Sanders person. Okay, with my writing, read hundreds of thousands of times, whatever. In the Huffington Post, the Hill, Salon, all with editors giving a stamp of approval, whatever. Do you think this would happen with Biden? Do you think that there would be some, like, this electricity, and then they call it a cult? It's like, no. This is what politics should be about. Energy, enthusiasm, a vision, a good economy, which is what we had with Trump. We had an amazing economy before Democratic governors shut down state economies. And they didn't have to do that. And gee, what bureaucrats told them to do that? Did they break the law maybe in telling them to do that? But anyway, we had a functioning economy. We had record low poverty. If you're a liberal Democrat, what's there not to like about record low poverty with Trump? He didn't tell people to shut. In fact, he said open up, and then the Washington Post and others said Trump contrary to experts. Then when they say experts as a foil to Trump. But the experts that disagree with Democrats should never have been born. They're bad people. They're not experts. Oh my God. So they make this fabricated consensus. Democrats, they rally around a fabricated consensus where any expert that disagrees with them is outside of a completely manufactured mainstream view. But anyway, where's the energy and passion in the Democratic Party? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's all aging Hollywood directors and producers and celebrities. Lord knows the skeletons they have in their closet. Probably more skeletons than Trump ever did in his entire life. Probably nastier, more evil and vile. You're looking at Hollywood and others. Okay. The fact that Hollywood despises Trump, Hollywood is, in many ways, could be viewed as like the epicenter of immorality and evil. And they're against Trump. So what does that tell you about Trump? And we had record low poverty, and Robert De Niro is like, well, what doesn't he like about Trump? I want to know. We had record low poverty. Okay, he's a millionaire. These Hollywood celebrities are millionaires. We had record low poverty, record highs in household median income. He brought Americans home from our longest running counterinsurgency conflict. First president to step foot in North Korea. What achievement did Biden achieve? Where are his achievements? He presided over catastrophe in Europe, unmitigated disaster in the Middle East. What? Interest rates through the roof, inflation through the roof. Where's the wonderful achievement for Democrats? Poverty up under Democrats. So why on earth would you vote for anyone other than Trump? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
This guy is central casting. If I'm doing a movie on a politician, this is the guy I have playing. Come on. That's great.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Both my parents were World War II veterans. Not many people can say about that. They would be shocked and appalled by what's going on in this foreign invasion from our southern border. Nassau County is not a sanctuary county, and when Donald Trump gets reelected, this will not be a sanctuary country. God bless America.
Good.
Again, liberal Democrats say, oh, that is so offensive. None of the liberal Democrats, pundits, politicians even visit the region where people are coming through. the atrocities, the human rights violations, the things that we can't talk about on this platform. Worse atrocities, human rights atrocities are taking place than at any point during Trump's administration, and zero photos of AOC looking into a chain link fence. Zero photos, because Democrats are all about public relations and a manufactured image and euphemisms and words like they insult Trump by saying he coddles, he emboldens. These are all linked to the liberal democratic sensibility. But the reality is people were better off under Trump, even with a stronger. Had we built the wall, more lives would have been saved. There would have been less suffering. But again, it's like Democrats call homeless the unhoused. The unhoused, as people literally go to the bathroom in their cities in front of mansions and in front of, like, parks. And it's like, don't call them homeless. They're the unhoused. Well, then why don't you do something good, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal who cares so much about words, lives with euphemisms? You wouldn't want to offend the people that we've forgotten about who go to the bathroom in front of supermarkets. It's like that's the world. That's like the reality that wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrats live within. That little paradigm, their wonderful manicured sensibilities, the paradigm that revolves around their sensibilities. They would never want to call the homeless unhoused. Or no, yeah, they would never want to they would call them unhoused. Because it's so much, you might offend somebody. As it's like a terrible, terrible situation, people living on the streets, and Democrats do nothing about it. But Newsom cleaned up San Francisco when a certain world leader came to town. Gee, I wonder why.
Man, good man. Thank you very much, guys. National Committeeman and Chairman Joe Cairo. Joe, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. And Andrew, thank you very much for being here.
Everybody, thank you for watching. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Trump is going to win in a landslide. He's up in every swing state. If they convict him in New York, his poll numbers will skyrocket. Because people know what a criminal is. A criminal gets 50 intel officials to go to bat and hide. A criminal has every publication. Let's put it this way. Democrats have a public relations monstrosity. There are investigative journalists at the Washington Post, the New York Times, other publications that only investigate Trump, but they never investigate Biden. I wonder why. That's an interesting question to ask. Trump is not like Paul, thank you again. My God, thank you, Paul. In Australia, thank you to my super chat. Thank you. Trump did nothing wrong. Just like he wasn't a Kremlin operative, he did not commit a crime in any of these cases. However, the people who are accusing him of crimes actually did commit crimes. You can look at the New York Post reporting on Hunter's laptop. It's all there. Okay. There's literally emails asking for influence, according to the New York Post. Plus, you have congressional investigations with Republicans that show clear bribery and graft schemes. But again, with classified data also, Biden had classified data in 5-6 different locations, top secret intel, possibly also at a university. He didn't have the power to declassify it. If you ever hear that Trump committed crimes with classified data, understand one thing. Trump was a president. Every single president brought home classified documents. Okay, whether that's good or bad, the precedent is that every single president did that. But number one, the main point is he had the power to declassify. As a president with the power to declassify. Biden as senator, Clinton as secretary of state did not have the power to declassify. End of story, end of debate. Trump wins that debate. He wins any court case also. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. If they convict him in New York, because the Georgia case, the 2 special counsel cases, the Florida case, they've all been dismantled. If they convict him in New York, he will skyrocket in the polls. Mark my words. Hit subscribe to this channel. God bless you all. Paul Bartlett, thank you so very much. To my Super Chat members of this channel, thank you. To the people in the Bronx, New York who support, and the people throughout New York who support Donald Trump, God bless you. And God bless America. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit subscribe.